This does not look like Mystique at all. This looks like an uglified version of Mystique. And I know that's kind of weird to say, but at the same time, I can't help but think this is a game that allegedly is connected to Sweet Baby Inc. and has connections of people working at Insomniac that have previous positions at other companies that have failed upwards into Insomniac, turning it into the latest wokey studio, similar to Wizards of the Coast. Insomniac's always been a very woke studio, but it's only gotten worse as time has gone on. And behind the scenes, an anonymous person shared with me some information that I thought was very curious about this character specifically. Do you guys notice any similarities here between this thing from Concord and this thing here? Pretty similar, right? Pretty similar. And we all remember Concord being the game that ended up destroying Firewalk Studios, costing Sony upwards of $400+ million, and destroying an entire brand, jobs everywhere, burning to the ground. And then this. What would you say if I told you that these characters were both made allegedly by the same person? Mackenzie Patrick, character artist at Insomniac Games, previously Firewalk Studios. Curious, isn't it? This is, by the way, I mean no ill will against Mackenzie. She looks like a beautiful girl. I'm sure she's very nice in real life. And I don't know, probably hardcore wokey based off the designs. Who knows? But my concern is more the failing upwards in this world and showcasing where something costs a studio hundreds of thousands of dollars. Many people point to this character design in particular as being one of the major downfalls of Concord. And failing upward into Insomniac Games to do the same damn thing there on Wolverine. It's got to make you wonder. This is Mackenzie Patrick's LinkedIn. And she is the creator of this Cade, I guess. I don't even know what this character's name is. And she is character artist at Insomniac Games now. And would you look at that? Before Firewalk, Blizzard Entertainment. And before that, Halo Studios. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I'm sensing a pattern when it comes to a woke studio failing upwards and passing around these people like they're traded like used cars to car dealerships. Just like a circle jerk of just different companies in the same circle that you just go around to over and over again. This is her ArtStation artwork, which, I mean, I feel like, here's the thing. I feel like the graphics and everything, like it's cool artwork, but it is just not pleasing to the eye whatsoever. It doesn't work. I don't know what to tell you, but this is not it at all. Grums on X says, something big happened yesterday, and most people missed it. Every theory we had about the uglification of women in AAA gaming turned out to be true. Look at what happened to Jean Grey from Insomniac Games, which, by the way, separate character and was initially the major concern from Wolverine. And this is what Grums posted. Was this a year ago? Over a year ago. Marvel's Wolverine, from these leaked early screenshots of the first beautiful model to the masculine, world-weary version that we have today. So, that to that. Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way. That is brutal. Allegedly, this is after Sweet Baby Inc. got involved. And yes, Marvel Wolverine is a Sweet Baby Inc. game. We were told it was the difficulty of scanning actors or just tricks of light and bad screen caps. We were told we were incels for even questioning it. As a game dev, I knew it was BS. As gamers, you knew it was BS from comparisons with Asian games. Yesterday, we found out. Principal artists read this as lead at major studios, including Naughty Dog, Rocksteady, and Respawn, told the truth. This is posting Del Walker, who stepped out of line with the cult of Wokies, and they made him shut the hell up and never talk like this again, and reminded him who was in charge of the cult. This was wild because this guy just one tweet stepped out of line, and they smacked him right back down. Yesterday, a principal artist at a major studio, Naughty Dog, Rocksteady, and Respawn, talked about his frustration at trying to get his design for beautiful female characters approved at AAA studios. Every time he pitched them, every time he brought it up at meetings, he was ignored. Inexplicitly, each character went from beautiful to grocery store aunties, each revision worse than the last. This is no fan of gamers or Gamergate 2. This is a liberal, woke dev with seemingly a lot of talent who is bringing you this information. And he hates to have you use it, but he feels strongly enough that even he has to say something. This is no myth. This is no conspiracy theory. This is happening in AAA. And you were right all along. Del Walker infamously tweeted before deleting, "I'm not talking about mild changes. I'm talking about pose, aura, style, softness, age, flair. I hate giving Gamergate men fuel, but it's very difficult to pitch a beautiful or vain black woman in games without them coming back like grocery store aunties. There is room for both." And this is quote tweeting himself saying, "There's been a handful of times I've pitched black women characters that look like this. Then after 10 iterations, the concept or model comes back without a speck of the original beauty I pitched." And he continues, "For clarity, this is just an example to convey the point." And look at this image A here of how it starts out and what the character ends up looking like in game. Again, a woke developer came forward and said this before ultimately deleting all of it and then blocking people who were daring to side with him and work with him and try to have conversations with him. He's just like, "I'm done. I shouldn't have said anything. I'm out." It was very strange. The whole situation was really strange. Grums continues, says, "We know that Sweet Baby Inc. is involved with Marvel's Wolverine. We know this because Sweet Baby Inc.'s own tweets and because a narrative director for Insomniac's Wolverine ran to the defense of SBI. SBI does two things we'll talk about. They assist with dialogue and story, and they also assist with character design. By now, everyone knows SBI's public mission is to insert DEI sensitivity into all games. This is their sole purpose and pitch as a consulting agency. And this explains why Jean Grey went from great to grocery store auntie." And I want to show you the screenshot here. This is the Mary Kenny, the same person that was quoted saying we need to pull all levers to inject LGBTQ plus into games. That very same person says, "Some of you don't seem to understand how narrative consulting on games work, but don't worry, I do. Yes, this is about Sweet Baby because I've worked with that team and they're one of the finest in the biz." Grums continues, says, "The answer is no. None of these changes help. They don't help the industry, plagued by layoffs and soft sales. They don't help gamers, many of whom are women who want to play beautiful female characters. They don't help trans, who also want to pass as beautiful women and aspire to that. These are empty, token gestures born of a knee-jerk response to misguided empathy. They do more harm than good, and they will continue to hurt the entire industry as the trend continues. It's time to stop." And we'll leave it at this. This is the Marvel Wolverine trailer that got debuted today. Bring this up here. And overwhelmingly, people are enjoying it. 263,000 to 3,200 dislikes. But that doesn't mean it's not without controversy, specifically with surrounding Mystique. But I'll be honest, the game, the first time I watched this during the state of play, I was like, it doesn't look terrible. It looks like there may be some potential here. But I sure as shit am not going to be holding my breath with a game that had Sweet Baby Inc. involved with it. I would imagine there's going to be quests, hardcore woke stuff pushed into it, random side quests about trying to have a girl boss take over and prove to Wolverine that she can do just what he can do. I'm sure they're going to be trying to put that kind of stuff in this game. I'm sure of it. So as good as the trailer might initially appear, I need to caution myself and hold back any kind of hope and expectations. And I will say too, the quote unquote gameplay that they show here is so unbelievably brief that I can't even qualify it as gameplay because it switches between short, I don't know if you want to call it quick time events or finishing moves, to just CG cutscenes. And it tries to blend them flawlessly. But I'm watching this and I'm like, I want to see what the game's actually like. I don't care about the cutscenes, bro. I don't care. These are just pre-rendered finishing moves, it seems like, over and over again, or pre-rendered quick time. And here's another angle of Mystique that people are pointing out right here. The body type is very not feminine at all. And people pick up on this stuff. And they're like, we see what you're doing with the game. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's not Mystique. But I mean, outside of those things, just being real, the game does not look terrible. But again, it's a trailer. And you know what else didn't look terrible? Perfect Dark. When I first saw Perfect Dark, I was like, oh, shoot, Perfect Dark actually might be a legit contender for a good game here. But it's coming from a really woke Microsoft, and I'm not going to hold my breath on it. And we all remember what happened with Perfect Dark. So, yeah, when it comes to Wolverine, definitely holding my expectations back. The game is not coming out for another year. Fall 2026, I believe they. A lot of time between now and release. I think it would do a lot of favors for the studio, for Insomniac, to separate themselves from Sweet Baby Inc. But they can't do that. One, they're a really woke studio. They're in tight with them. And most likely they're still working with them. But I would say if they are not, it would behoove them to make that known and say that whatever was being worked on with them was scrapped and they started over, which is why this game is taking so long. If they gave a story like that, I'd be like, oh, okay, now I'm really interested. This could be something curious. Okay. But yeah, I guess I'm in a place where not in a huge rush. I'm not super excited. I'm not like, oh my God, I wish it was coming out tomorrow. I'm at a point in time where I'm just like, yeah, if it comes out next year, okay. If it's people are saying it's awesome, maybe I'll take a look at it and see. But by no means am I like, oh my God, I can't wait for this game. We'll see where it goes from here. But I just thought it was curious that we have people like Mackenzie Patrick failing upwards from Blizzard to Firewalk to ultimately Insomniac Games and working on characters that are, we'll just say, questionable at best. Marty Tiberius O'Donnell for the 5-banger says, look at Kyle's tweet. Gar. 40-year-old Mystique adulting. It all makes sense. Oh, so this is the character model that Mystique was based on. Why? They're so fixated on hooking their buddies up in the industry instead of just getting the best people for the positions. DEI in a nutshell. And then I saw this too. Kyle reposted it, but NevG also shared it with me. Learning the Law says, if you watch the latest trailer for Marvel's Wolverine, you'll notice that about 90% of Logan's enemies are diverse male and female Zoomers. To which I replied, and you beat the shit out of them? Based. Oh, man, good times. Not before when they tell Wolverine how he needs to do to be better. Oh, man, good times. Good times, bro. Sergeant Sapient for the 2 can look like literally anyone, chooses to be ugly.